All right, I'm gonna bring my man Ryan in.
Everybody, hey everyone.
What's good, Ryan? What's good? And I forgot to tell you guys, Ryan is he's an attorney. So you got some legal issues, you need to get his information.
Hey guys, so happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me. I'll tell you a bit about the program that we're doing, the company, and how we're helping everybody out.
That's good.
So back in 2022, even before that, we had a lot of legislation passed, and it was as a result of the effects of COVID-19. Now, they passed a lot of different bills. There were some for employers. There were some for self-employed people, right? And when I say self-employed people, I'm talking about anyone 1099 contractor, sole proprietor. So if you look at your tax return, it's a Schedule C income, okay? Now, under the CARES Act, under the FFCRA, Congress has allocated up to $32,220 per person for the effects that COVID had on their life and their business. When we started this, the first group that we started reaching out to were rideshare drivers. Good. Very first, in a lot of our marketing and outreach to different rideshare drivers, because they were hit super hard. You know, they shut the world down, and then on top of that, for those folks having children, right? Even when they did turn the world back on somewhat, right? Schools were closed, daycares were closed, all of these things that prevented people from going out and earning a living. So when they passed that multi-trillion-dollar spending bill, they weren't just, printing money and sending out checks.
Yeah.
So everyone has to take a little bit of action. So the things on the employer side, employers had to apply, right? They had to show and say, here are the employees I had. Here's who we kept employed during this time. And they got a little bit of a benefit back. And actually, this same tax credit, employers were able to use for their W-2 employees. They were able to offset keeping them employed and claim this credit. But for the folks who, whether that ownership or 1099 work was their primary thing or even just a side hustle, this is what compensates you for having to miss days. So how it works, right now we are looking at the tax year 2021. So you have a 10-day category and you have a 60-day category. The 10-day category, that is anything. Government shutdowns, you had COVID, had to quarantine, had to care for someone who had to quarantine. That could even include a parent, a spouse, whomever, right? Now, that's broken down into two time periods. You have the first quarter of 2021, and then you have the second two quarters combined. That's a maximum of $511 per day. So for each of those periods, $5,110 for each, okay? Then for those folks having any children dependents, and that would include as well a disabled child over the age of 18, if you had to miss or stay home to care for them, that's up to $200 a day, but it's depending on which time period, 50 or 60 days, which gives you a maximum of $32,220. I just talked to one of our customers down in Texas, touch base with him. He just got back $28,900 some dollars.
That's crazy. And a lot of rideshare drivers got affected because we were getting sick driving people around.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we took days off and we were getting family members sick. So once we got them sick, we had to stay home to help take care of them too. And so what you're saying is that the government says we're going to compensate you for taking care of people with COVID, but also taking care of yourself with COVID. If you were a self-employed person and you couldn't go out and work, you basically had no insurance. We're going to help you out.
Yes, it's really amazing. And the other thing too for the rideshare drivers, a lot of them put themselves at risk, right? It was like wear a mask, this and that, but like,
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people got infected. I'm sure a lot of people got infected, and then it's like you get it. So for me, as it was mentioned earlier, so I'm an attorney by trade, practicing. And, some of the work I do is in criminal defense, and the jails were riddled. So I would get exposed to it constantly, right?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yep.
So you might have to quarantine 2-3 times because you're exposed to it so much. So,
Yep.
That was definitely a frontline kind of job. And then, a lot of rideshare drivers do Grubhub, do all these other different
DoorDash.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And folks, it's absolutely incredible.
Helping drivers out right now. People that don't even know that there's money sitting there with their name on it, and they're just like struggling. And one, like you said, you got a guy who got 28 grand back. I wish I can get 28 grand.
It really is. And definitely, listen, it is a 7 to 10 minute process. One of the other amazing things that we were able to do, we entered into a corporate partnership with a company called taxstatus.com. Now, taxstatus.com works with some of the largest financial institutions in the United States, American Express, the credit reporting bureaus. And what it allows us to do, you don't have to find your tax returns and upload them. All you have to do is hop on there, put some information. We verify your identity in 2 ways. We scan a government ID. It's really slick. You can do it right from your phone. If you're on your computer, you can make it pop to your phone, scan your ID, and then it does a facial recognition scan to double verify that it's you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like so somebody can't just scam the system like how they were doing those PPP loans. Everybody was scamming and doing crazy stuff, and that's how everybody got caught up later.
Exactly. And we made it to where you can't get scammed. People can't put in false information. All of our numbers are coming directly from the IRS. We have painstakingly ensured that what we're doing is accurate. If there is ever any sort of issue in terms of an audit or anything like that, we offer audit protection. We will assist you through that, but we have this down to a science. And what we did is we created a proprietary software. It extracts that data. It takes all of the other information, much like if you get on TurboTax and put in information, it extracts all of that. And it creates all the documents we need. We actually this week just went through probably our 3rd revamp. We brought in 3 other external accounting professionals that own tax preparation offices. We actually wanted them to argue amongst themselves, right? Like we want to get as many brains in the room as possible. And our goal has always been to do this. Because you mentioned like you had fraud in the PPP, you had fraud in some other places. And for us, it has been very important to us that we do this at the highest level possible.
And if there's money sitting there, a big pool of money the government has already allocated for people like us, we want to get a chunk of it. We want some of this money too.
You deserve it. It's yours. Fortune 500 companies, they have lawyers and accountants, and they stay on top of these things, right?
Oh yeah.
And for everyone else, they don't know unless someone tells them. And when we learned about this, it was a problem to be solved. 40 to 80 million people, hundreds of billions of dollars, and if we don't tell you before it expires, it's going to be too late. And we try to make it too easy for you. And, one of the beautiful things is they actually pay interest. The IRS pays interest from 2022 onward as though you overpaid your taxes. So whatever we quote you, you're typically, and we don't advertise it because we like to, under promise, over deliver.
Yeah.
But you typically end up with like a 16+% bump because it's 8% a year and it's been 2 years. And so our services are, depending on the situation, either no cost in the wash or, very little comparatively.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
yeah,
And it's kind of how my attorney is like.
Last thing I think it's important to hit on, if you owe nothing in back taxes or less than $500, okay, we don't collect a fee until you receive your refund by the IRS. No fee out of pocket. There's no money to apply. We absorb all the costs, pull the records, everything. If you're not qualified, you don't owe us anything. And then the folks who owe, to the IRS, which a lot of self-employed people, it's about 20% or more, owe the IRS because, the nature of how cash comes in for us, it's not withheld and such. With those folks, we do a reduced fee and we'll work with you. And if you can't pay that, call us and we have some financing options. And we do everything that we can do. Our objective is to get as many people as much money as possible. Very simple.
See, I like that. And that's funny because I was just talking about my attorney, probably 2 months ago, and how I never pay him for anything. I just make a phone call. I talk to him. He makes sure we win, so he gets his fees out of everything. Like, I don't pay a dime. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I say. I say, dude, if I never had an attorney, these apps will be screwing me. My insurance will be screwing me. Everybody will be screwing me over. I let him handle all that. I make a phone call. He'll send his assistant. She'll get any information she needs from me. I don't worry about nothing. All I know is checks start coming into the mail. He says, hey, Jeff, you want to come out of the office, pick up this check? Hey, and we're working on this part of it. I'm like, that's it. That's what attorneys do. And I explained that like a few weeks ago. People are like, well, attorneys cost money. I mean, they know everything you don't know. They know caveats to the system. They study law. This is what you're paying for, that knowledge. And the trick is you never pay them up front. They just give you money like you never know you're going to get it anyways. I love that, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I guess the law degree's, paying off finally.
Exactly.
I guess it's
hey, everybody knows me. I took the LSAT. I just didn't have what it took to go to law school, man. You're a bigger man than me because that's a rugged lifestyle. Law school is rugged, man. It's worth it, though. It's very worth it because you help out families with that. And that's what I wanted to go into. I wanted to go into the law that end up helping people, the small people out. And here I find you. So it's kind of like, man, this is what the universe does, man. You find good people on this path, and it's exactly what we need. Now we got a guy here saying, hey, would it also apply to food delivery, or is it just ride share? It's also food delivery too, right? It's any gig worker. Y'all just making sure.
Anyone in that space, and just so we're talking about it, realtors, barbers, salon workers, they often get 1099 wages, right? Freelancers, it goes on and on and on and on. So it applies. Again, you're talking, it's like 1 in 4 people in the United States who work. And again, it's free to check. So, again.
And that's the thing, a delivery driver, and a lot of delivery drivers out there are getting slighted by apps like DoorDash and stuff like that. You may end up getting a huge check of money that these apps were never going to give you, but the government has it allocated for you already. But you're not going to get it if you never asked for it. That's the trick to it. And now you got a company that says, hey, we go through and request all these funds on your behalf. These are the checks you get now. So, I mean, it's as simple as that. And just like when I deal with my attorney, it's a lot of red tape I don't have to go through. The attorneys go through it for me. I just sit back and keep living my life doing whatever I do.
Yeah. And I mean, truly, Jeff, I cannot express to you, right, the joy in the feeling. Every single person we talk to, anyone, right, and we know and we see the numbers that they're getting, and they didn't know they were going to do it. Like, that's what, when you get into these positions, and we have, and you have a background in the accounting space too, right? And then in law, and it's like, when you can take those things, and I've helped a lot of people individually in their lives, right? Or families, and one at a time. I mean, truly save people's lives. And that's a great feeling. It's incredible. But it's, you know, like you talked about, like just kind of like the alignment in the universe and everything. And that's my favorite thing, is to help people, right? It's my literal favorite thing. And the universe gave me a mechanism to do it at scale. You know what I mean? To do it, I look at our, you know, back end, and I look at how often people come to the site, and it's, you know, and they're, because it's time stamped, and, you know, you'll have 5 people in the same minute. It's pages and pages every day. And then to know that maybe they're getting new tires on their car, maybe they have a medical bill, maybe their family hasn't gotten to take a vacation in 3 years, maybe you know, that they have home improvements they want to do. A lot of the folks, hey, maybe they owe $10,000 in back taxes, but guess what? They're getting back 12. So now their back tax debt's gone. They even pick up a little bit of interest, and they get a little check in the mail. And that, you know, anyone who carries to back tax debt, it's a monkey on the back. You know what I mean? It's something that they think about, that they worry about. You know, you make payments, the interest is pretty high, right? Because you're getting the penalty and the interest. And, you know, to be able to clear that up for people, it's just incredible.
It's a relief. It's a relief. I'm telling you, because I've been, you know, doing accounting and everything for over since I was 15 years old, and I'm 50 now. So 35 years dealing with finances and seeing people stressed out over taxes, seeing people stressed out over bills they can't make. And one day you get this check in the mail. Like, a lot of people like to celebrate getting a tax return. I mean, imagine not only getting a tax return, but getting a huge credit in the form of this big check that was sitting there that you never even knew you were supposed to get. You like, dude, I just got $9,000. Like, what? Now you can really do some damage. Now you happy now.
People are in disbelief. You know what I mean? Like they're like, really? And you know how I got into this? My law firm, I kept people employed during COVID. I was eligible as an employer, and I didn't know anything about it. And I was actually meeting with an insurance broker for health insurance plans for our employees. And that's who asked me. They're like, hey, have you heard about this tax credit for employers, the ERC? No. And it was, you know, so there was a day I knew nothing about it. I learned about it. And then we got a really substantial credit from it. And and it was amazing. And then it just so happened. So one of the partners that we founded the company with, he was like probably the second company in that space. He's based out in Northern California. And, you know, I told him, I said, man, if anything like this ever comes up again, you know, I love helping people. And I see a question here.
Yeah, I think Scotty's helping out. He's answering her to some.
Fantastic.
Yeah, what if a driver collected unemployment in the state of California? And I think Scotty's helping him out. Because you guys get with everybody with these questions all the time.
Typically the only thing that's going to disqualify someone or reduce is, as I mentioned earlier, employers were able to use the same credit. So the instance that you would see is if somebody has a W-2, you know, job, right? A statutory employee. So you have someone who's an employee, and then they also maybe, you know, do ride share, any other gig economy type of thing. Heck, maybe they're a DJ on the weekends. Maybe they pick up, you know, catering shifts. Who knows? If their employer claimed the credit relating to them, it can offset what you're eligible for. So that max eligibility, that is for an individual taxpayer. So if the employer attributed some of that to you, which was then reflected on the tax documents that year, that can offset it. But anything else, no, there's generally no offset.
Yeah, so there's a maximum amount that you're allocated, but if a previous employer already did for like, let's say 25-30% of it, that can offset what your max could be depending on what you actually qualify for. So they may have exhausted it already, or they may have exhausted all, and you may only get like $1,000 back instead because they already exhausted it all. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
The other great thing I think I should mention, some of the other, there's only a handful of companies that are really in this arena, and some of them, or some of the accounting firms, they won't process someone if their claim is less than like $10,000 or $7,000. For us, because of what we've built in our systems, we process everybody. Everybody. So, I mean, you have people all the time, $1,000, $1,500. Of course you're going to, why would you not want that?
And rideshare, we can use that. That's like a week's worth of work for us. And that's, that's a little cushion. That's a set of tires, like you said. That's an alternator.
I can always use $1,000. Yeah, I can. There's never a time where I'll be like, no, I'm fine.
Keep the grand. I'm good. I'm good. Like, no,
not today. I got too many. No.
And that's me. That's why, when I talk to you guys, I was like, man, you have no idea. You guys are like a blessing, man. Because there's a lot of people out there, like I said, hurting right now in the rideshare space. And we've been protesting and asking to ask, pay us better, pay us better. And here we are. We got this huge pile of cash sitting over here nobody's talking about. And you guys come and go, hey, you know about this pile of cash over here? I'm like, let me get that link. I'm going to put that link in my video descriptions. I'm going to start putting it in all my video descriptions so people can click it. And they can go and say, hey, Jeff, dude, I clicked on that link like 2 months ago. Bruh, I just got a $4,000 check in the mail. I was like, there you go.
It's the best, Jeff. And truly, like, I can't say enough how much, when like all of us, we're that spun this up, self-employed America, right?
Yeah.
Jeff, like truly, when we did this, we really came from a place of caring, like genuinely caring about people, like, oh my gosh. And I am just like, I guess, like, ignorant enough and have enough bravado to think like I can, start a company and get the word out to several million Americans. And
that's what I love about you, man.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just enough. And it's working. It's the craziest thing. Look, I mean, I'm here now talking to you, and we've helped thousands of people and gotten tens of millions of dollars. So
it's the energy in the universe. Like I said, I got a huge 1111 tattoo. I've had this tattoo for almost 8 years now, and I do it for a reason, because it reminds me, stay on the path of energy. The universe is going to send you the right people at the right time. And just stay the course. And I would never sell out. I always stick up for drivers. I'm always fighting for drivers. I put myself on the front line of getting deactivated and not being allowed on the apps for drivers. And then I end up running into you. And it's like, you're like, dude, I just fight for drivers all the time. I'm like, this is what we do. We started a whole company fighting for people like drivers. I'm like, bro, I gotta have you on a podcast.
Well, listen, it's been wonderful. And if you guys have any any other questions, again, everyone, we have made it too easy. That was the goal. Okay. Everything, all of your data, everything like that, it's all behind encrypted portals. We only, even from the tax portal, we leave it in there. We only extract like the back end code that we need with the specific data. So we're not pulling out everything, right? We just pull out very specifically what we need. We leave it as secure as possible. We don't transmit your full social security number anywhere. We don't email it. We don't put it in anything. We don't store it internally. And again, we're using your verified data. Obviously, answer the questions to the best of your ability, best you can remember. That you don't have to submit anything else. There's no other documents. You don't have to submit any proof of the days, nothing like that. It is a self-attesting thing. You are reporting the number of days. It is a formula based upon your self-employed income. It takes, right now, it's running a little long getting the IRS data. So that can take up to like 10 days lately. When it's not, that's kind of the max. Normally it's within about 3 to 5 business days. We have that data back. And then once we get it, the numbers are run, and then you receive an email. We have a secure client portal that you can log into. Everything kind of takes place in there. And yeah, you'll be able to see how much the refund is. In the event, if you don't owe over $500 in back taxes, you just verify your payment information. We don't run anything. It's just verified, and you get the documents with really clear instructions. Here's where you sign. These have to be wet signed and mailed. It's just what it has to be. We would have made it easier if we could have, but they have to be wet signed. And then, if you do owe over $500 in back taxes, no worries. Again, you're going to get a reduced amount. We really do want to help as many people, put it within reach, right? There's a big difference in, hey, we're going to take our money later when it's in your account, and we're going to, versus you're coming out of pocket. And we understand that. Yeah. And
a lot of drivers just don't have it. A lot of drivers, like I said, they don't have that money up front to get things done. And that's what my attorney realizes that about me being a driver, understanding how I work. And sometimes I can't because, cars are down. So he's always willing to say, Jeff, everything's contingency, because he knows, he trusts himself. That's what he trusts himself enough to say, it's on contingency. I know you're good for the money. Give me the information. I got you. Never fails. Never fails. When you got a good attorney, you can operate on a fringe like that. You can do that. You got good, like you're a good attorney. You know what you're doing. So
yeah. And that's it. I mean, we just want to put it within reach. And, and when I hear folks, it's like, oh, well, what if someone does this and that? It's like, I'm not going to worry about 1% max of a bad actor and then make it more difficult for the other 99% of people. Exactly. I'm not going to do that.
Bad actors always get busted. Bad actors tried that in the PPP loan. They tried it. And they all got caught. Bad actors tried it in the crypto space. They all got caught in their Senate. It's like, you cannot get away with it. They will find you. So make sure when you're doing something, you're legit with it. You report your stuff legit. It'll all come down a pipe clean for you. You'll have money free and clear. You ain't got to look over your back. You like, Jeff, I just got $11,000, man. I have no idea. I told you, watching these podcasts, watching this channel, I am running into people in this world that will help you. I'm trying to help drivers. I run into you. You're helping drivers. I'm like, bruh, it's like peanut butter and chocolate, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, I love it, man. I'm like, I needed you on this channel. I needed you to help reach out to people. And you guys will go through them. Like I said, you just answer a few questions to the best of your ability. If they need any more information, they'll contact you for it. But they're trying to help drivers get the money that we never knew even existed. We never knew this existed. And this is what he's here for.
And if anyone needs anything, we have a bilingual call center. Just to let you know, our call center, they do not have access to your sensitive data. If we have to get into sensitive data, that gets escalated to a member of the management team or one of our upper level employees, and then they will get back to you. But any sort of general questions, anything like that, certainly call them. And I'm happy. I love talking to our customers. Truly.
Man. And I'm glad you showed up at the coffee shop. Like, a lot of people don't like, this is not just somebody we met on the internet. We met this guy like in person. He was at the coffee shop. He came out and hung out with us for like an hour. And so he's a real, actual live person.
Last thing, it's tax-free because it's a tax refund. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So for all the people out there always worried about taxes and all the chats, this is a credit. It's a refund. This is tax-free. You're not paying anything for it. You don't owe anything on it. This is not a payday loan. This is your money. The government allocated. And these guys said, let's help get this money to people. Let's not just let it sit there. So it was like,
we made it too easy, Jeff. We made it too easy. We built a technology just to do this. Thank you so much, everyone. Jeff, really pleasure seeing you.
Oh, Ron, pleasure seeing you, man. We'll be in touch, brother. Definitely. We'll have you on again, my man.
Definitely. I'll see you when I'm in town too.
All right, brother. I'll see you out there, Ryan.
All right. See you guys. Thanks, everybody.